Hello, everyone. My guest today is Nicholas Chepesiuk. He is the founder and CEO of OnCallHealth. Prior to starting the company in 2016, he was an early hire at education technology company Top Hat and marketing technology company Turnstile, which was acquired by Yelp. Nicholas, you ready to take us to the top?
Let's go.
All right. OnCallHealth sounds like something that would be taking off in our current era of pandemic around the world. What do you guys do?
Yeah, so we're a SaaS company. We provide a solution to healthcare providers all the way up to large brands so they can launch and grow their own virtual care program. So essentially offering virtual appointment options over video or text to their own patient base.
And what makes that complicated? Why hasn't somebody done that?
I think there's a lot of workflow challenges, a lot of security and technology requirements, and then as well as integrations that are required.
Excuse me.
And no problem. And then there's a big human element as well around change management, provider training, and patient tech support that are required to make a virtual healthcare program successful. Mm-hmm. We've seen as well just a lot of drive from organizations that maybe before the pandemic were opposed to adopting this type of technology or didn't have it as one of their top priorities to now seeing a lot of urgency and making it one of their top priorities.
Give me a size of sort of the customer you're going after. What's the average customer pay you per month to use the tech?
Yeah, so we have about 700 customers. About 600 of them are small practices, paying us about $75 a month on average. And then we have over 100 customers that we put into our enterprise sort of bracket, which has more advanced kind of branding and control over workflow in the system. And those customers are paying us anywhere from about $1,000 to $20,000 a month.
Oh, wow.
So I can do the math for you. We're around we're well over 3 million ARR now.
That's great. And where were you exactly 1 year ago?
Less than 1 million.
Oh, wow. So incredible growth.
Yeah. Year.
Was your product really already built for the needs that folks had during COVID that had to move to all virtual, or did you have to add in a bunch of extra features?
We were really well positioned, I believe, because we launched kind of at the start of 2017. So we were really well positioned at the beginning of this year to capitalize on kind of this moment. And that being said, we're always adding on to our integrations and API just to keep capturing more of the market.
Mm-hmm. And have you done this all bootstrapped?
No, we've raised our Series A earlier this year.
How much did you raise?
We raised $6 million USD.
Was that the right move? Do you regret it?
No, really excited about the partner. We're a Canadian company, but pushing way more into the US. And Base 10 is our Series A lead investor. They're San Francisco based, and they've been amazing in terms of helping us push into the US more.
What valuation were you able to negotiate? A range is fine. I mean, you were raising during COVID, you could argue, really hot company during COVID. You have a real revenue.
Yeah, I mean, we got kind of a standard, not absurd, but a standard sort of Series A multiple on revenue.
Okay, fair to say you sold somewhere between, call it 10 and 20% of the business?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Cool. So somewhere between like a $50 and $80 million valuation.
Sure.
Okay, very interesting. And where's most of that money going? Where are you spending it?
So the Series A is really going into go-to-market. We've been very outbound sales driven to get to this point, not too much on the marketing side. So really building that out, partnerships, and then building out kind of a full sales team now.
Mm-hmm. When you say lots of outbound sales today, are those quota carrying sales reps?
Yeah, no hard quotas yet, but yes, we have a few account executives.
How do you get good account executives if there's no commission component to them hitting the quota? You know, the best folks, they want to eat what they kill.
Oh, totally. Yeah, we have uncapped commission, but just not enforcing hard.
Oh, I see. So they can earn. How many have commission opportunity?
All of the account execs.
And how many is that?
We have 3 account execs, and then our customer success team. A lot of our accounts expand, so we work with, for example, like a pharmaceutical company or an insurer that have networks of hundreds of thousands of healthcare providers that we can expand across. So there's a ton of upsell as part of customer success is actually the largest team in our organization. And
how many people?
I think close to 10 right now.
Oh, wow.
30
out of 30 total.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Now, there's a kind of a big trend in B2B SaaS right now where there are CEOs and CROs and VPs of sales giving the customer success team quota targets and incentivizing them on an expansion metric. Do you guys do that?
Yeah, again, I think we'll start to look at more individual metrics next year now that we've really started to refine our processes. But yeah, absolutely. We base it off net revenue retention, but yes, exactly. Like we want to give our CSMs a commission as well.
What's your target net revenue retention?
We've been well over 100 for as long as I can remember, just especially because of a lot of that account expansion. But yeah, definitely at least 100% net revenue retention is our goal.
And what allows you to drive the expansion? You can't drive expansion without an upsell. So what are you upselling? Is it number of seats? Is it product upsells, a utility-based upsell?
Yeah, so there's two components to our pricing. We charge for our enterprise package, which includes our like fully branded apps. The customers get to become the publisher of their own virtual care apps that we help them create. And then it's essentially like a white label rather than being a custom development. And then analytics, and then we do charge per seat, which is just per healthcare provider.
So tell me how that works. If I'm a small healthcare provider that signs up today with you for $75 per month, and I'm buying more seats next year as I'm expanding with you, it's because I'm hiring more health practitioners at my little shop?
That's right.
I see. Interesting.
The larger brands will buy licenses at scale for thousands of providers, for example.
So they have a bunch of providers working under them, and they're paying for all those providers to access your tool.
Yeah, the interesting thing is, we do work with some kind of conventional hospital systems, but the larger, like our largest customers are, like I said, pharma companies and insurers that don't directly employ healthcare providers, but they have networks of them. And so it's really interesting nowadays that they can launch a completely new revenue stream by using their network of healthcare providers that they don't have to directly employ. And they also don't have to pay for the overhead of running physical clinics. Mm-hmm. So our technology, think of it like a Shopify for virtual healthcare, or Shopify Plus in that case, being that tech enabler for them to bring their services online and basically run an entire virtual care program.
So Nicholas, if you've got 600 of these smaller practices at $75 per month, I mean, that makes up about $45,000 of your $250,000 months of revenue, a $3 million run rate. So it's less than 15% of your business are these small practices. I could see you, validate you spending your time and engineering and customer success on those accounts if you felt like you could take a $75 a month account and get it to $1,000 a month or $20,000 a month over time. But I imagine small practices generally stay small practices. Why spend any time focused on small practices since you're never going to get them up to 10, 20 grand a month?
Yeah, totally agree, Nathan. We started out as an SMB vendor until we could work our way up the value chain. So our first kind of 100 customers were all SMBs. So that is to some extent a legacy part of our business.
I see.
We're very focused on the enterprise. That being said, I think there's a huge long tail opportunity in SMB because, in my belief, every healthcare provider is going to have some sort of virtual care technology as part of their practice in the next few years. Mm-hmm. So we're really focused on making that very self-serve. It's very self-serve sign up and account management, which we don't really have today, and making that kind of a more automated part of our business so we can focus more on the enterprise.
Back in 2017, when you started coding this technology, how did you fund the MVP?
So we did kind of like an angel round with kind of local investors in Toronto and raised about $200K. That lasted us a long time.
How long?
A couple years, and then we raised a seed from Ripple Ventures in late 2018, early 2019, and then our Series A this year.
What was the seed? How much?
It was 1.5 USD.
Interesting. Okay, so 200 to 1.5 to 6 million now today.
Yes.
Was the 6 million the first priced round?
No, the seed was priced as well.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and I mean we've been we're very focused on capital efficiency, so not trying to raise massive rounds.
Yeah. I mean, what does it mean for a founder like you to be capital efficient?
Well, it's an evolving definition. I think now in this next phase of the business, that's becoming less important to me. I'm trying to optimize more for growth at this stage and be a little bit more liberal with spending. But getting to this point, we were able to reach kind of 1 million ARR with only about 1 million raised. So. Yep. For me, I think it's really important I come from a sales background, so we had paying customers from day one. And I think, that's the engine of the business. And have always just been focused on always growing revenue at the same time as we develop the product.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously you just raised a round. Now you have to deploy the capital to drive future growth. So your burn's going to go up a little bit currently, but you don't want to drive it too high. You want to see a path to profitability, right? I mean, how comfortable are you in terms of how high do you want to drive burn? How high would you be comfortable driving burn right now?
It's a great question. I think we are really going to ramp up, like I said, the go-to-market team, and we will see more significant burn. But at our current growth rate, I think we can keep up and have a pretty manageable burn rate without having to take on any debt, which we haven't had to do today.
What would you consider manageable? I mean, if you're doing $250 a month right now, right? So you could maybe get up to spending $350, $400, $500 a month. So your net burns $250. You have $6 in the bank. That still gives you plenty of runway. I mean, would you feel comfortable burning total expenses annually or monthly like $500,000?
I think we will have to get up to that for a while, and yes, I would be comfortable with that, just because it's such an incredibly hot market right now for this technology. It feels like a very unique sort of moment in time in which we're well positioned to capitalize.
Yep. No, it makes a lot of sense to me. Interesting. Okay, very cool. Last thing I want to ask about is payback period. So, I mean, what are you willing to spend to get a new $75 a month customer?
That changes quite a bit, especially since we have really only started spending significantly on marketing this year. But the unit economics have been working quite well. Let me just see. Yeah, I think our payback period is a few months or 6 months for an SMB and about 2 months for an enterprise.
That's really good. Yeah, those are really healthy. Very good. All right, Nicholas, let's wrap up here with the famous 5. Number 1, favorite business book.
I just finished Principles by Ray Dalio and loved it.
Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
I mentioned Shopify. I think that's my favorite company, so I really track the entire executive team there.
Yep. Number 3, what's your favorite online tool for building the business?
We live on Salesforce, Slack, and Notion. Slack is part of Salesforce now. I hope they buy Notion next.
We'll see. Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
Oh, I'm a big sleep guy. 8 hours for sure.
And what's your situation? Married, single, kids?
In a relationship, no kids.
Okay. And how old are you?
I'm 29.
29. Last question. What's something you wish you knew when you were 20?
Always be present.
Guys, I love that. Guys, OnCallHealth, they went from $1 million run rate a year ago to over $3 million run rate today. They've just raised an additional $6 million to drive growth, helping practices handle the now, because of the pandemic, virtual demand they're getting from their patients. Launched the company in 2017, again, well-positioned, currently 700 customers on the platform, 600 smaller practices, 100 enterprises, looking to drive growth of the company, 30 people on the team today, 3 quota-carrying reps as they look to scale, well over 100% net revenue retention rate as they upsell white label product and additional seats. Nicholas, thanks for taking us to the top.
Thanks so much, Nathan. Take care.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers. They try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.